If you're a hot hatch enthusiast, you are well aware of the Honda Civic Type R. It is the fastest Honda they make for the street. Some call it the CTR. We'll take a closer look. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix, and this is the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. It is an awesome piece. Why is it so much fun? This is what a lot of people think, oh, it's a kid car, a millennial car. Oh, no, it's not. You can take this on an autocross. You can take this to a track event. You can have a blast on the street. It offers a lot more than you might expect. We'll take a closer look, give you some Car Coach Reports ratings, so when you go to test drive one and maybe you own a competitor, you kind of know what you're looking at before you get there, and it'll save you a lot of time and give you some information the dealer's probably not going to tell you unless they're an enthusiast like you. If this is your first time to the channel, we give you more than just car reviews. We give you car smarts, great ways to save money, and a lot of information you won't get anywhere else. Make sure to hit that subscribe and that little bell next to it so you don't miss anything. This is going to be a really fun review. Let's go for a ride. There's a comfort mode, there's a sport mode, but there is an R+ mode. And when you push that lever forward, the gauges turn red, which means I get performance. Now what we're looking at here is a 2-liter turbo. It is a 4-cylinder engine with 23 pounds of boost. It is Honda's fastest 2-liter turbo engine. It's probably their fastest street car. With all the boost on this little 4-cylinder engine, that means you need to run premium fuel. This is a front-wheel drive vehicle and only comes one way, and that is a 6-speed manual transmission. I love it. Let's see what it does. All right, 0 to 60 is supposed to be 5 seconds. Let's find out in R+. Woo! That's a quick 5 seconds. Top speed of 169 miles an hour. Honda claims it does over a G on a skid pad. That's pretty intense for this little car. One of the reasons this vehicle is so fast is because it's pretty light, considering it's about 3,100 pounds. Fuel economy, 22 miles to the gallon in the city and 28 on the highway. One important thing to note is there is a really cool aluminum shift handle. It's awesome. It's weighted. There's new shifter linkage for this year. But one of the things you do need to know is that if you leave this vehicle in the sun, like I learned, on a 90-degree day, and you go to shift, you're doing a pretty quick shift because your hand is burning. So just keep that in mind. Some other vehicles have leather wrapped, and I'm sure there's an aftermarket component. You could put a really cool shift knob on it as well, but this one looks really good. This vehicle is so much fun to drive, and if you put it on a track, Honda is now offering an application that's built into the system called Log R, as in Type R, and it'll give you great information you typically wouldn't get, such as oil temperature, water temperature, lap times, G ratings, all that information you would typically buy on an aftermarket setup. I'm really impressed with the performance on this little 2-liter turbo, and it earned a 10, and I'm going to keep driving it. If you're looking for handling like what's on the Type R, you're going to have a lot of fun, whether it's in the R+ mode and you can hear that exhaust note. It's manufactured. I'm disappointed in that. That's sort of a handling performance thing, but the handling itself has been improved. Better suspension, bigger rotors, brakes are Brembos, which are excellent. They've changed a lot of the points for connections and some of the materials. I won't get into the i-VTEC because if I do, we're going to have a 2-hour video. But what we do have is a vehicle that's been improved in all ways, and that includes a limited slip differential in the front that takes away all that torque steer, but it also gives it really great handling. Super sticky Continental Performance tires is a huge improvement as well. When it comes to handling, I'm putting this sucker on the track. It earned a 9. Visibility is an important factor. Whether you put it on the track, you put it on the street, you want to be able to see where you're going and see what's around you. Now, there's a huge front windshield. That's excellent. The sills are a little bit high, and out the back you think there would be limitations with that wing, but it's designed differently than its predecessor. I can see out the back there's a little bit of limitation. The headrests are not intrusive whatsoever. For visibility, it earned an 8. Although I enjoy driving this vehicle in R+ mode, you can put it into the regular sport mode and still have fun, and then go to that comfort mode and have a really nice daily driver ride. When you do, all of the controls change right in front of you. Things change pretty quickly, the steering, the shift points, everything, and they've thought about all the details and what's involved, so when you as a consumer are driving this every day, you really could use this every single day. Honda's safety sense system includes lane change departure, it's got cross traffic alert, it's got all the controls that you would have in front of you. You can shut off some of these things because I know they drive people nuts sometimes. But if you're on the track, you would shut it off. If you're on an autocross, you would shut it off. But if you're driving it on the street, you might want it on. Love the backup camera. I wish it was an around view camera, but it's not necessary. This is a fun car. There are a lot of safety features on this vehicle, and I don't want too many of them because I call them nannies. But with Honda, they have so many safety features that are standard that they could probably add a few others on this just because, like an around view camera. And for safety, it earned an 8. Now everybody knows I always say seating comfort is a top priority, and I'm usually complaining about no lumbar. Now these are manual seats. They move back and forth by lifting a lever because the racing buckets, they are really impressive looking. Red Alcantara seats. Black insets are a nylon material. They do get a little bit warm. It'd be nice to have them air cooled, but then that would sort of take away the racing bucket effect. And I'm sure if it was during the winter, you'd want heated seats. But again, is that important? No, this car is awesome. The lumbar is built into it. There are very few adjustments, but very few adjustments are needed. And that's really cool because these seats look freaking awesome, and they're set up for racing harnesses. That's what those holes are for. I could take this thing on the track and have a lot of fun. Let's take a look at the second row. Back here in the second row, the seating is not as comfortable, but it is actually very comfortable. Nice supportive seats, 2 cup holders, no place for a third person in the middle. There is no charging in the back. There is no vents. There is a small speaker, one up top and one on the bottom, and a little bit of storage. But overall, when it comes to seating, because of the front seats being pretty comfortable, no cooled seats, which I probably could use because you do get a little sweaty in this hot temperature, but you don't always have these hot temperatures. Overall, when it comes to seating, it earned an 8. When you're looking at technology for a very cool vehicle like this Type R, you've got your standard controls here, and again, you can change what's in front of you by just hitting that little button. When you do, these are info pages, and you can move them around how you want, just based on the information that you need, whether you're putting it on the track, you just want to use your daily driver controls. It's all right here. So that's excellent, very easy to use. Then you've also got your cruise control and your lane departure, which is a safety feature. Over here, when it comes to the gauges, these are just regular digital gauges, all very easy to use, nothing out of the ordinary. To the left, you've got the lane departure warning as well as your traction control. That'd be a lot of fun, especially in the winter on some ice. But then you'd want to have different tires, I'm sure. Your regular controls here on the door. Going to your center stack, this is kind of where technology falls off for me. When you hit the home button, first off, it's a bit dated. And I'm surprised because some of the vehicles that Honda puts out are pretty awesome as far as technology. But this one, you know, you got your navigation, your phone, you got nice buttons, which I do like. And none of this has really changed. When you're looking at some of the maps or the audio, thank goodness, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've got your phone connection. Of course, you can go back and put in whatever you need, your different sources, and all that's pretty simple, pretty basic. Thank you for putting an actual button for the audio system. There's nothing more frustrating than a little slide. So I think they've done a great job with that as well. Going further down, your controls, easy to use. I like that. Now, why is there this little USB link here on this tray? Because down below, there is another tray with charging ports so that your cell phone is not in your hand. And I think that's really smart. Honda did that. It's also good for additional storage. Going further back, my favorite, the awesome 6-speed manual transmission. Love this aluminum shift knob. You've got your brake hold and your parking brake, which, by the way, you cannot take the parking brake off unless you have your foot on the clutch and the brake, start the vehicle, and your seatbelt is on. Otherwise, you cannot take it off. I like how all the Type R cars have numbers. That's pretty awesome. Just makes your car feel a little bit more special. Here's your shifter control, pretty basic. When you move your way back to the multi-combination center console, and I really have to say it because you can move this up. You can move this tray forward and back. You can move the cup holders forward and back. Way down on the bottom of your center console is another 1 amp charging port, because they have to do that just to make sure you charge all your devices and, of course, keep them out of your hands. Overall, when it comes to technology, it's a bit dated, and it earns a 7. There are a lot of features in this vehicle, a lot of soft touch materials. I mean, they've really thought about things, including this awesome Alcantara steering wheel with the red, which I think is just fabulous. Flat bottom steering wheel, and you really think how basic this is, but then some of the details really pop. And that's part of the features of owning a vehicle like this. You just want it to have some personality, sort of like the owners of these vehicles. And I have to think about all the things that it has and what it could add. Be nice to have heated seats, air-cooled seats. Those are things that are not on this car. And I have to say, plus you're getting a lot of value when it comes to everything that's standard on this vehicle. When it comes to features, there's not too much, there's just enough. I wish it was a bit more. For features, it earned an 8. When you're looking at the design of the Type R, there are a few changes for 2020. The most notable to me is the front splitter. This was changed not just for aerodynamics, but it was also changed because of the change in the grille. Note that they blanked out these front corners, LED headlights and taillights. At the wheels, there's been a few changes. 20-inch alloy rims, really great sticky Continental Contact 245/30 ZR20 tires, and they really grip to the road because you want to take that power and transfer it to the roadway. We have Go power, but we also need Whoa power, and that's why they use Brembo front brakes, 2-piece rotors. This gives you more surface area so you have much better braking, and you have to transfer all that better handling, all that better braking through these tires to get the stickiest compound so you really can use this thing on a track. Around the back is a biplane spoiler. This may be too much for the average person, but I think it's totally cool. I don't know, what do you think? I love this arched rear wing. It is in your face, which is probably why I like this vehicle. And the lower wing has airflow underneath it, keeps the rear end down at speed. You've got your Type R logo here, your Civic logo here, and when you come to the back, there's been a couple of changes. One of them is this rear diffuser. It's not my favorite. It's very polarizing. You either think is the coolest thing, you really don't like it. And there's a real mix out there, especially with hot hatch enthusiasts. 3 pipes out the back. This exhaust system has manufactured sound, like we said before. Not really a fan of it. When you look at the outside and the inside and what they've offered for the money, for design, it earned an 8. When you look at quality, it's not just the gaps in the doors. That's important, of course, because fit and finish is a critical part of a vehicle. It's the interior materials. It's the longevity. It's how well this vehicle is going to hold up over time. And there are so many factors when you're looking at a vehicle as a whole. When you're looking at quality and it comes to Honda, you know it's going to earn a 10. Around the back, there is plenty of storage, about 24 cubic feet. There's a standard cover here, which is kind of a neat one because it goes sideways. But it also has an additional cover here just to protect some of your valuables, and I think that's really important. Looking underneath this cover, there is nothing more than a tire inflation product, which means the run flats are a little bit more expensive, but you just need to be aware of that. If you are using this vehicle at the track, you want to keep it lighter, which means no spare tire anyhow. For a price point of $36,995, there is a ton of value in this vehicle. There's no options. This thing is a blast. It has everything you need. This vehicle only comes in manual, which means only a real driver, a real enthusiast is going to own a vehicle like this. Yeah, this could be a daily driver, but if you drive a manual and you know what 3 pedals are, you're going to know that an enthusiast owns this. So for a total score of value, I was pretty impressed what you get for your money, especially compared to the competition. It earned a 10. Based on all 10 factors that we discussed, the improved performance, and this is Honda's fastest street car. I think they did a great job with that. Improved handling, brakes, great sticky tires. Looks pretty cool too. There's a few things I'm really not a fan of. The interior's got a lot of great appointments, some excellent features. Technology they're still working on, but there is Apple CarPlay. When you add up all these numbers together, you now have a Car Coach Reports total of 86. The competition has some good vehicles as well. We've reviewed them all. Check out the link for Car Coach Reports down below. You can subscribe to the newsletter so you don't miss out on anything. And if we gave you great value, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you are a hot hatch fan, you love this car, you hate this car, you bought something else, you'd never buy one, you'd always buy one. We want to know. Let's start the conversation down below. It is a community. We all learn from each other. I do reply to your comments and appreciate it. And thank you for your support on our Patreon page. Follow me on all forms of social media at Lauren Fix, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.